Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. I hope you're doing well today. It is April the 2nd, 2020. And I noticed something for the first time in my entire life yesterday when I went for a walk. And it was so extraordinary that I didn't want the experience to end. What was it? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. When I was walking yesterday, I noticed that the air was so crisp and clean that when I would take a deep breath, it almost had a sweet quality to it. And I would take a deep breath in and I could hold it, and I wasn't coughing, my throat wasn't irritated, my bronchial passageways weren't constricting. It was a deep, clear breath. And I did that several times. And then when I came home, I didn't feel all grungy and dirty, and I needed to wash my face and hands and jump in the shower sometimes even. And the funny thing is, and the ironic thing is that the pollen levels and the pollen count here in Georgia is the same as it is every other year. So it wasn't the pollen that was getting me, it was the pollution. Now, Benjamin Creme's master says, and has been saying for years, is that pollution is the number one killer. And that's what's killing humanity off. It's not viruses like the one that we're facing today. It's pollution, the invisible peril of nuclear radiation, which that part hasn't gone down, but of course the emissions and stuff from cars and planes and things like that has gone way down in the last month. So I am hoping that this will give our planet a little bit of a breather, a little time to kind of heal itself for a second, maybe get back to lower levels of that until we realize that we can't harm our environment the way that we're doing. But I tell you what, I don't want to go back to the way it was. Man, that was nice going for a walk. I hope it stays like that. I think it's kind of wishful thinking at this point, but eventually, I know that humanity will get it right, and we will take care of the environment, and I'll be able to take, and you'll be able to take, and everyone will be able to take big, deep breaths of air, and it'll be clean. Now, on with the program. So there was a couple people that asked questions. This one is my new Iraqi friend, Abdullah, who has asked several questions over the last few videos that I put up. But the one question, he asked two questions in this video, but will the collapse of the world economy cause Maitreya to come soon? And I keep telling him that Maitreya is already on TV, so Maitreya doesn't need to come anywhere. Now, will it cause him to be more direct in his message to people, to where people will start to pick up on the fact that it is Maitreya? I don't know, but he has been on TV for a while now, so it just depends on us. If we go back to the way that it was and we don't learn from our mistakes, then it might take a little longer. If we learn from it and we suffer a little bit, and I know nobody likes to suffer, but sometimes we have to suffer to get, no pain, no gain kind of deal, right? Then it might cause him to be a little bit more direct in his message. And then his second question, must a third world war be ignited for Maitreya to come? The simple answer is no. The longer answer is that even though, how do I say this? There's always a potential for a third world war until humanity as a whole decides to put war behind us forever. And the step that it will take to do that the masters will know that we're starting to put war behind us forever, is when we start to share the world's resources. When we do that, that will pretty much be the nail in the coffin for the people in the Pentagon. Really, that war, humanity is going to start putting war behind us forever. Now, according to Benjamin Creme's own master, the tipping point. Now, I know people use the phrase, the tipping point when it comes to the environment, right? And they mean it in a bad way. So once we go past the tipping point, there's nothing we can do. The environment will never be healed, right? And we'll go down a cliff, right? But the tipping point that Benjamin Creme's master was using in this regard was actually a good thing, is humanity's already gone past the tipping point where peace is now really assured. When Maitreya entered London in July 19th, 1977, that was the guarantee that humanity was ready to put war behind us forever. Now, we haven't done it, obviously, in the last 40-something years, but it's not, the possibility of a third world war is highly unlikely. So is it still a possibility? Yes. Now the other question is, part of this question is, what is that what's going to cause Maitreya to come forward? No. Maitreya's already been on TV for 10 years, but there won't be a third world war in that regard. I know people are expecting the third world war and the Antichrist and all that stuff. All that stuff is just, they're misinterpreting their own scriptures, really. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying they're misinterpreting their own scriptures. So if they were to look at it from a knowing eye, Revelations is not what people interpret Revelations to be, is not what was meant when it was written down, I guess is the best way I could put it. Now, the other question is, and this is coming from someone who comments quite a bit on my channel, and this seemed rather cynical, but hey, I can see where they're coming from too, though. It's from Ms. Ruby. It says, good luck with that trust stuff. Greed is the seed. How will Maitreya heal selfishness and greed, gluttony, and self-righteousness? Now, Maitreya would say that selfishness and greed, gluttony, and self-righteousness comes from complacency. Complacency, from Maitreya's point of view, is the root of all evil. Now, I know in the Bible it says money is the root of all evil, but really, it's the complacency around money that's the evil, not the money itself. And now, according to Maitreya, there was a time when one true man could save the world. Then there was a time when 10 wasn't enough. He said, or 10,000 weren't enough, I'm sorry. And he goes, in the coming time, which is this time, I will call on 1 billion people. And Benjamin Creme asked his master, not long before he passed away, has Maitreya gotten his 1 billion people who are ready for change and ready to make the changes in the world and so forth? And Benjamin Creme's master said he has 1.5 billion people. So it doesn't have to be every single man, woman, and child on this planet that's willing to accept change in order for change to happen. But according to the masters, there's 1.5 billion people that are ready, want to see change. And that will be enough to make the changes. Now, in terms of the greed, the gluttony, self-righteousness, and selfishness, which are qualities that we all have, of course, when we start to realize ourselves as souls, when we start to live within the law of cause and effect, well, a lot of those qualities, which are mainly symptoms of what? Separation, the illusion that we're separate, will start to fade away. But Maitreya is speaking heart to heart on, directly to humanity. Whether he's speaking with a muted tone or not is his, depends on what he's saying, right? But he is speaking heart to heart, and it is having an effect on humanity, according to Benjamin Creme's master. So, I think that Maitreya will awaken within all of us, really, eventually. Maybe not in the next year or two or whatever like that for some of us, but it might take some of us longer than others. But the more we listen to him, the love nature of Maitreya can't help but go penetrate the hearts of those who are hearing it and help to change that person. Now, the other thing, too, is, and this is coming from a different master, the Master Jesus, who was talking to a friend of mine years and years ago. If you want to see, how do you say it? He goes, when you surround people with love, it's easier for them to change. So if you're seeing selfishness and greed and gluttony and self-righteousness within yourself, you're obviously, if you're seeing it in others, it's within yourself. But surround them with light, surround yourself with love and light, and see if that doesn't help change the situation too. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I wanted to, again, leave us with another one of Benjamin Creme's master's articles, because I think it's important to share the ideas and priorities of these masters with all those who will listen, because humanity's got it wrong in a lot of ways. And so to hear the ideas of a master, I think is invaluable. So anyway, this article was published in Share International the month that Maitreya went out and did his first television interview, so in January of 2010. And it's entitled A Glorious Enterprise. When humanity sees Maitreya, whether they recognize him or not, they will feel obliged to support him or to reject him and all he stands for, sharing justice and peace. Thus will men be divided and known. Thus will the sword of cleavage perform its destined task, and thus will Maitreya know the readiness of men for change. Appearing before men as one of them, the great Lord ensures that men follow and support him for the truth and sanity of his ideas rather than for his status. Nevertheless, it matters not whether they recognize him as Maitreya, as the Christ, or simply as a man whose wisdom coincides with their own aspirations for justice and peace, for a better world for all men. Gradually, we must assume, many will begin to see Maitreya as the one awaited by all religious groups under their various names, and will call him thus. Some will say, he must be the Mahdi, while others will declaim, Krishna has come again, the law is fulfilled. Others will ask, surely he is the Messiah, come at last, while still others will see him as the Christ or Maitreya Buddha. All will see him as their expected one, fulfilling their hopes and come to fulfill their needs. Maitreya will neither affirm nor deny these claims, nor should those among his workers who believe they have recognized him. Not until the day of declaration will Maitreya acknowledge his true identity and status. On that glorious day, men will know beyond all gainsaying that their long wait has not been in vain, that help indeed is at hand, that the teacher is ready to aid and guide, that he comes as an elder brother rather than a savior, ready to take the lead to save our planet and to enable men themselves to restore sanity to their lives and ways of living. Maitreya will show that our problems are many but solvable, that the solution to all is already in our hands, that the simple act of sharing alone has the power to transform life on earth for the better. He will ask for men's trust as an elder brother, that he will not lead them into other than their destined path of harmony and love, that they have nothing to fear but their fear, and that the way ahead already has the blueprint of the divine. Thus will Maitreya ease the way for men to embark on a transformation huge in scope, involving all men and women everywhere. A transformation which will launch humanity into a glorious enterprise, the restoration of the planet Earth to its rightful place among its sister planets of our system. Remember to take care of yourself, look after each other, and I can't wait to talk to you again in another video. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.